Hello and welcome to another special update video, this time around for the Doors of Oblivion, a massive mod first released in 2016 that adds a number of the realms of Oblivion to the game world of Morrowind for you to find, fight through, and do all sorts of just quests in, as well as a ton of other things. This mod received a major quest update just last year in 2018, adding over a dozen new quests, a new town, a new dungeons, and a fair bit more for you to discover here, as we'll see here in today's updated showcase video. And yes, I know, we just did one of these for Skyrim Home of the Nords, and, to be honest, we still have a few more of these update videos to do, because we really just dropped the ball back in 2018 with regards to video production, and we're still playing catch-up on everything that was released and updated last year. But anyway, as always, down links are down below. So we're just going to go ahead and get started here with a recap of what the Doors of Oblivion is, for those of you who just might not be familiar with this mod or its rather ambitious and massive scope. And first and foremost, the Doors of Oblivion was really the surprise release of 2016. It was a mod that came out of seemingly nowhere. It just showed up on the Nexus one day with no warning. There had been no work in progress thread for it, no screenshots posted beforehand, no beta release prior to being posted for everyone to play, which is a big deal because this mod is literally the size of an entire expansion pack. It's bigger than Tribunal and probably on par as far as content goes with the entire island of Solstein. It was such a massive mod with so much to see and do that it pretty much automatically became our mod of the year for 2016. And for those keeping track, this is either the third or fourth time that we've showcased it on the channel here, though the last time was actually way back in 2017. And thankfully, we've gotten a new computer since then, so the FPS hit in the video footage here isn't nearly as bad as it used to be. You may remember back when we last showcased the Doors of Oblivion, it really just sort of chugged along, but anyway. The Doors of Oblivion, when it came out in 2016, included about a dozen realms of Oblivion, or at least parts of a dozen different realms of Oblivion, since after all, each realm is supposed to be pretty massive, and some of these are just a bit on the small side. But in any event, these realms include Apocrypha, the realm of Hermaeus Mora, with the dark layers of Elder Cores, ancient tomes of knowledge, and the dark sludge of the unknown. There's also the realm of Ashpit, the realm of Malakath, a hostile and dark realm with broken promises for you to find. Attribution Share, the realm of Boethia, full of twisted towers and glorious fighting. Clavicus Files realm, the first realm that you'll come across as you journey across the Doors of Oblivion, which is a more just sort of idyllic and scenic realm of peaceful floating islands. There where you'll find one fairly friendly realm, you'll find more just dangerous realms like Cold Harbor, the realm of Malag Bal, for the cold darkness of an eternal night where the ruins of Man and Mer can be found scattered across the landscape, and where hope itself seems to be lost. And on a similar note, you also come across the Deadlands, the home of Maroon's Dagon, in the Doors of Oblivion as well, which were, of course, the primary realm you got to see in the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. And speaking of, you also find a small sliver of the Shivering Isles here, with both Mania and Dementia available for you to explore, at least, the small part that you'll find here. There's also Meridia's realm of the Colored Rooms, one of the more just scenic realms, as well as Quagmire, a land of nightmares ruled by Varmina, and Nemera's realm of the Scuttling Void, where disease and decay run rampant. And, of course, we have Sanguine's realms, various pleasures and indulgences, including the Misty Grove, and you'll even find the Soul Cairn in the Doors of Oblivion as well. And obviously, we don't have video footage of all these realms here, as it would take far too long to showcase them all, but hopefully this gives you some idea of just the sheer scale of the Doors of Oblivion. It's one of the largest mods available for Morrowind, and it's still being worked on, as can be noted with the 2018 update. But also, I believe Ashtar, the author, has plans to add even more realms of Oblivion in the future here, though that's entirely up in the air at this point. And in any event, this is just a quick recap. We're skipping over a lot of the stuff that you'll find in the Doors of Oblivion, so if you'd like to see more, just remember to go download and play this mod for yourself. But anyway, on to the new features that you'll find here. We're going to start out with the new town of Caprice, located in Clavicus Files realm. And indeed, most of the new features and additions with the 2018 quest update for the Doors of Oblivion are centered around Clavicus Vile's realm, though there's new quests in several of the realms of Oblivion. Most of the new content can be found here, as we'll see here in a moment. And in any event, you'll find a couple of new islands in Clavicus Vile's realm, including the ruined remains of some sort of village or city, and also the main town of Caprice, with a ship that can take you there from the area where you start out in the Doors of Oblivion. Now, the city of Caprice is a merchant city, home to dozens of merchants and various services, with all sorts of items and things for sale. And there's probably about a dozen buildings here, including shops, a tavern, a governor's mansion, a merchant's plaza, docks, a few homes, and other various odds and ends. Though before we get too far into this showcase here, we do need to address the just elephant in the room, which is really the buildings here. While this city looks fine from afar, as you get closer, you're going to notice rather just poor building models and extremely low-resolution textures in use here, which contrast pretty poorly with everything else that you'll find here. And now, just stopping the narration real quick, you might notice a slight difference in the audio quality here, and, well, basically, I've just been messing around with the mic here, and I've adjusted it, which I think will just sound a bit better, but maybe it won't, I don't know. But anyway, if you notice a slight change in just the audio here, that would, be the reason why. And anyway, back to the narration. Now, one of the things about Doors of Oblivion is that it uses a ton of just Mars resources, and these buildings are doubtless from an old Mars resource package that was probably already dated when it was released in 2003. And I imagine that if there's really any complaint to, make about Doors of Oblivion here, it's that some of the models and Mars resources can be just, well, really bad. Thankfully, I think QWERTY and Arctic Assault are working on a set of replaces for the Doors of Oblivion. So if any luck, this won't be quite the, eyesore it currently is going into the future. But until then, it's just something that you have to just try and overlook, because there's a ton of great content here outside of these just lackluster buildings. And in any event, there's a ton of new dialogue with the NPCs here, with dialogue topics talking about Clavicus Vile's realm, and the city of Caprice in particular. And just checking out some interiors here, you'll find some really quite cozy looking shops and homes. Though again, it's impossible to just, completely ignore the just incredibly poor, low-resolution texture work along the walls here, especially given just how high-resolution everything else is. Again, we're just going to have to, wait for someone to do a replacer set for these, because right now, they're really awful. They're just really, really bad. But anyway, a number of the residents here will have a quest for you to do, like hunting down Daedra, or tracking down a lost sister, or just, other odd things like that. And anyway, we're just going to take a look at a couple more interiors here, including the occasional home, which with the right texture replacer could look really nice. There's already some great looking furniture and paintings here. It's just, the buildings themselves that need a bit of a touch-up. And real quick, we're just going to check out the governor's mansion, which is one of the largest interiors in the city of Caprice, with a number of rich furnishings, and where you can see a lot of the new items that this mod adds. And there's dozens of new miscellaneous items to be found in the Doors of Oblivion, covering everything from basic dishware, new drinks, food, weapons, armor, and more. Though, of course, this does require you to, again, just overlook the low-resolution background textures and just focus on the furniture and items here. And anyway, there's actually a player home here that you can buy for about 20,000 gold from the, governor. And just hopping over to this new home and just, ignoring or trying to ignore the texture work, it's a small home with a lower level, including a fireplace and a few containers, and an upper level with a bed for you to use during your stay in the Doors of Oblivion. And there's also a small basement included here, which includes some, storage, but that's really just about it. And one last interior that we're going to take a look at here is the smelter and armory, one of the nicer looking interiors, where you can purchase all sorts of new weapons and armor, assuming of course that you've got the cash for it. And again, there's a fair bit of a new dialogue here. But moving on, we're going to just real quick take a look at some of the other questing content here, which includes a number of new quests that you can do for the Daedric Lords, like, Clavicus Vile here, who has a few quests for you to do, starting with a bunch of riddles for you to solve. And assuming you do, he'll give you an amulet that you can, use to teleport back to his realm of Oblivion. But more than that, after this first set of intro quests, he has a few other quests for you to do, like hunting down a former servant who had betrayed him for another Daedric master, and this might involve a short trip to Solstein. But anyway, speaking of just other new quests here, Sheogorath also has a new quest for you to do, involving playing a practical joke on the ever-menacing Malag Ball. And there's also a new quest for Varmina, Sanguine, and more for you to check out here. And next up, we're just going to, take a look at a few of the new dungeon additions that you'll find here in the new 2018 update for Doors of Oblivion, including a new island of ruins near Caprice, which, yes, again, the texture work and buildings here are, well, just really bad. But even so, there's a few opponents for you to face here. There's also a few new caverns for you to fight and, explore, with a variety of opponents for you to fight, including battle mages, Daedra, knights, and just other types of foes just waiting to attack you down in the dark. And really, there's quite a bit of new content here. We're probably close to 3 or 4 hours worth of new stuff for you to do in this update, in addition to the dozens of hours of content that you could already find in the Doors of Oblivion with the original 2016 release. And this update includes a ton of other just minor additions and content, such as, bug fixes and the like, but, that's pretty much it for the main highlights here. And again, without a doubt, the Doors of Oblivion, despite whatever, few flaws it might have, is an absolute must-have mod with an expansion-sized amount of content to check out, and the 2018 quest update here just, adds more for you to do. And if you haven't checked this mod out yet, you absolutely should. And again, down the links are down below. And in the meantime though, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.